Hi friends and companions along this path of spiritual practice. Who are we without our passports, or our credentials, or our occupations? Who are we without our political parties? Who are we without our tribe of people? Or in the Zen language, what is our original face before our mother and our father were born? This is Zen Buddhism's way of asking, what is the original self that is irreducible to any of these identities that we acquire throughout our lifetime? Arguably, one of the most important and difficult dualities in Buddhism is the duality of self and other, or relatedly of subject and object. And how do we overcome that most difficult duality? The early Buddhist teachers asked students to think about a very unique relationship between awareness on the one hand and the construction of self on the other hand. Awareness and selfhood. The early Dharma teachers, they taught us that awareness is always an awareness of something. That awareness was always an interactive process. That it is seeing the sunset. It is hearing the bark of a dog. It is smelling the fragrance of flowers along the path. Or it is touching the warmth of a friend's handshake. It is even thinking the ideas that were presented in a talk. Awareness is always awareness of an object. But something interesting happens. We can be aware of an object, but awareness does not automatically assume the presence of a subject. It's quite counterintuitive, but the early Dharma teachers, they said that while awareness requires an object, the experience of being aware does not seemingly require the presence of a subject. In fact, you and I know that when we encounter something powerful, dramatic, we are aware of immense beauty or love or intimacy. We're aware of the object, but in that moment of awareness, there is no sense of self, our subject. The Buddhist teachers went on to say that the construction of the self, this subject, is something that happens secondarily. It is something that comes after the experience, the awareness that we have, as this self wants to have a particular relationship with that object. Do we like it, not like it? Do we want it, do we not want it? Will we accept it, or will we reject it? But the self comes along afterwards. It's concocted secondarily as we pursue a certain kind of relationship that we want that experience to be. Our awareness is premised on an object without necessarily requiring the subject. And so, what is this subject? The subject that necessarily is enabled by an experience, while the reverse is not true. We can have an experience without necessarily having this construction of self and subject. In fact, the Buddhist teachers tell us that there is awareness without being burdened by the self. That there is an awareness that is liberated to be more wholeheartedly present for awareness, to be there more completely and fully exposed to the object of our awareness. What if meditation, rather than the desire to repeat the self over and over again, what if meditation is an invitation to explore the full potential of what awareness of the other can be? So much at the heart of the tension in the world in this moment begs the question of this duality of self and other, and how we can allow the other to be seen for the fullness of who they are. And so our meditation practice that allows us to quiet the self and to be as fully attentive to this practice of awareness that is bigger than our identities. And so, friends, we continue with our practice.